Hello and welcome to Tilly's Music Guidance. I'm Jack, and on today's Artist Spotlight, we will be looking at up-and-coming singer-songwriter Sam Lambeth. Joining me shortly will be Sam Lambeth himself to talk about his latest track, his inspirations, and what he plans to do for the future. Sam Lambeth is a singer-songwriter from Birmingham. He recently just released his catchy new track, Nod My Head, which has so far proved to be very popular amongst the indie scene. The reviews have all been positive, and you can just find yourself singing along to the really catchy chorus of the song. I first started chatting to Sam at the end of 2020 when I approached him to feature in my first episode of 2021's music recommendations of my YouTube channel. And seeing how far he's progressed within a whole year has been nothing short of inspiring. Here is a snippet of Sam's latest track, Nod My Head.
But that radio dial still makes me smile. It reminds me I can be a kid again. And listen to the words they're singing, and I nod my head. And listen to the sounds they're making, and I nod my head. And listen to the words as you breathe. And I nod my head. And I nod my head. Take it, Bass.
Hello,
Hello, you alright?
how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. How's things, alright?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm just on half term at the moment, so just being very, very busy. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Yeah, like yourself, been really busy. You know, you got the day job in the day, and then once you clock off, it's like, right, send some emails out about the song now and promote that. And so yeah, it's been chock-a-block the past couple of weeks, but yeah, it's been fun as well.
Great, and congratulations about your latest release.
No, thanks. Sorry. Thanks. Thanks very much, buddy. It means a lot. Thanks for all the support as well, and cheers for asking me on. Means a lot. Being the first one on, for a couple of years.
Absolute pleasure. As I said, to have you as my first guest, that means quite a lot. So, yeah, what's the response been to your latest track? I know, obviously, I love it. It's so catchy, really good. Like as I said, it lives up to its name. You do nod your head. So,
It's been great, honestly. It's blown me away. I mean, not only have people given it a chance and given it a listen, I think the really great thing is that you can see people are returning to it and listening to it multiple times. And for me, that's when it becomes truly gratifying, when you have an influx of people that listen to it on release day, which is great in itself. But then a few days or a week or so later, and people are still posting about it, or it's still in their rotation. That really does mean a lot, to see people sticking with it. And I think the great thing is as well that people are coming up to me and saying, this is your best song so far. I had some really nice feedback about my other releases, but the general consensus seems to be with Nod My Head that so far this is the best one you've done, and it's my favourite song. So yeah, it's been amazing.
and you've recently had it played a few weeks ago on John Kennedy's XFM as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was John Kennedy's Hot One.
Wow.
Obviously, it's been a while since I've been referred to a hot one, so I was I was flattered. But yeah, it was amazing, because I was talking to someone the other day and I said I had I had a few little ambitions that I wanted to try and achieve with Nod My Head, and one of them was I really wanted to get played on it on Radio X. So when I got the email back from John saying he was up for playing it, I had to pinch myself.
Yeah, I mean, I accidentally referred to it as, showing my age a little bit. I referred to it as XFM before it actually became. And I've actually met John Kennedy before. When I was at university, I did a project on unsigned bands, and we actually had to interview him as well. And we actually went to the XFM studio. So I've actually met John before, and he's such a lovely guy as well. So for you to actually yeah, to get paid on his show as well. Because even like growing up, I used to listen to the Unsigned hour about 10 o'clock every night when it used to be XFM. So yeah, and now
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, he's such a stalwart of the unsigned music scene, isn't he? And to get his endorsement, if you will, and to get airplay from him really meant a lot, and it's something I'll always remember.
now is it? Am I right in thinking that this isn't like a song you've written recently? Is it quite an old song?
Oh yeah, it's very old. Yeah, I think it was one of the first songs that I ever written, or one of the first proper songs that I wrote. Probably when I was about 16. And yeah, I wrote it, and it was pretty similar to how it sounds now. In my head, I had this kind of Paul Simon style acoustic track, with some subtle African influences. And then when I formed my first band, the Monobloggers, I think that was around late 2008, early 2009. The first original song I took to the band was Nod My Head. And fortunately for me, the guys liked it, because as you can imagine, it was a bit nerve-wracking sitting down, first practice with a band and showing them this song that you've written. And we started playing it as a band. So, the guitars were up, the distortion was up. We were playing it fast because we had all that energy and we had all that enthusiasm because it was our first ever band. So Nod My Head ended up being recorded as this kind of fast, kind of pop punk number in a way. And it did quite well back then. It got a lot of airplay and things like that, and people took notice of us because of that song. But I always just felt I had a bit of unfinished business with it. I always felt that we recorded it very, very quickly. I think we did 6 songs in 2.5 days in the studio. So obviously we didn't spend much time crafting them. So I wanted to spend more time on Nod My Head, give it a really, really kind of polished treatment, and return to how I envisioned it back in the day. And yeah, that's what happened basically.
Wow. And as I said, I saw your Instagram post and you even performed it in front of 25,000 people at Molineux. For those of you who don't know what Molineux is, that's the home of Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club, which I believe you support.
Yes, that's right. So that was a pretty amazing experience as well. There was a guy that worked there called Jason Forrest, and he did all the media stuff for Wolves, but he was very keen on supporting local unsigned musicians. So it was great to have that link there. So when Nod My Head came out initially in 2009, it got played at the Molineux over the speakers during halftime and the build up to the show, which was amazing because I used to have friends of mine text me and text other members of the band going, "What's going on?" I'm like in the Billy Wright stand, and I swear I can hear your song. So that was pretty cool. But then a few years later, Jason asked me if I wanted to play on the pitch, and I'd been hoping for such a long time that it might happen. And when it did, I was over the moon. And when it came to deciding what song to do, I thought, well, Nod My Head felt like a natural choice. So yeah, I got to go on the pitch and play it, and it was an amazing experience just to be able to go backstage, or rather, should I say, to the dressing room and to the media suite, and
Nice.
just to be able to have that experience. And yeah, I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I remember being a little bit nervous, but more than anything, just being really, really grateful for it and thinking this chance probably won't ever happen again. So don't let nerves overshadow it. Just go out there, enjoy it, soak it up, and make the most of the day.
Yeah, and as I can imagine, there's also being a supporter of the club as well, performing your very own track. Yeah, mind blowing.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
And also, you also performed it on a very popular TV show, didn't you?
I did. No, I
Oh,
never performed it on the show.
oh,
I never
right.
got that far. Yeah, but yeah, basically, again, I think this ties into why Nod My Head's been around for so long, or rather, it's been around so long in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I just believed in it. I always believed in this song. I always thought this song's got something special about it, because people would come up to me when it first came out and they go, "I can't get that song out of my head. It's so bloody annoying," which for me was a compliment. And so again, over the years, whenever a moment, a kind of a big moment has occurred musically for myself, like the Molyneux appearance and like the Britain's Got Talent one, which is what you're alluding to. Nod My Head just felt like the perfect choice, because again, I just had this inner belief in it, and I'm not usually that self confident, really. I'm always a bit of a I always doubt myself, but with Nod My Head, there was always just this kind of determination and this kind of sheer belief that it had something about it. So yeah, I was that determined to try and get it out there. I thought I'll go on Britain's Got Talent because maybe I'm sitting on a song that could, I could be the next Susan Boyle. I thought I'm ugly enough. So yeah, I went to the ICC in Birmingham and I auditioned and not to lay it on too thick, but I got there at 9 a.m. I think, and I was one of the last ones to go in. And obviously, as I'd been waiting around, I'd seen hundreds and hundreds of people with acoustic guitars singing songs. You think to yourself, well, I'm going to have to be bloody good now to stand out. I mean, it's not even a singing competition; it's a talent competition,
Yeah.
And then I went in the room and there was 3 random people in there, played a minute and a half and Nod My Head, and they said, "Oh, thank you very much, but it's not for us." And yeah, that was it. So it was one of those where, again, I wasn't too upset. I came out, I thought, you know what, at least I give it a bash. But yeah, so over the years, I've tried anything I can to get Nod My Head out there.
Was it Rolling Stone that also picked up your article as well on how popular and how good your track is? And
yeah, they did. Again, that was amazing. Just one of those things that you don't expect ever to happen. I mean, I've been reading Rolling Stone for years and years and years. I always look to it as a hallmark of quality, for music journalism. So to see my ugly mug there on a big picture, and when I saw that review, I was totally blown away. And again, it's just these little moments, where you stop. That there's times, like I spoke about it the other day to somebody, when there's those times when you're working in your day job and all hands on deck, you're not really thinking about music and your recreational endeavors, and then all of a sudden you'll stop for a moment and think, wow, I can't believe it. I'm in Rolling Stone. Just those little moments where you stop and think, I can't believe that's actually happened. You know what I mean? Because sometimes life goes so fast, you don't take it in, and then you have those moments where you think, hang on a minute, I can't believe that actually happened. Like sometimes I look back on my social media feeds, my posts, and I think, oh shit, yeah, I can't believe that I did that. I can't believe we got given that opportunity. You know what I mean? So I know that these moments are gonna be so important for me, and when I look back over the years, they're really gonna stand out.
Yeah, and the review, as I said, reading all the reviews, they've all been really positive, haven't they? It's just been, like you said, everyone has really enjoyed the track. It's catchy as hell, and it said once that's in your head, it takes a while for it to go away. Not in a bad way, but obviously it's just so catchy, and singing along to it as well when the chorus comes in, bang, that proves obviously how good of a track that actually is.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm only sharing the good reviews, but honestly, it's been totally amazing. I can't really put it into words, and I always worry that people might think, oh, he's just saying these things, but generally, when I put a song out, I have that sweaty palms. I'm shaking. Honestly, I look like I've got COVID or something. I'm sitting there just totally overcome with different emotions, and you when you hit post, or publish on social media, you sit there thinking, this could totally flop. This could just sink under all the the sheer weight of all the posts that go out. But I'm so grateful that people saw it and have given it a chance, because there's so many songs that get released every week, and people can't listen to everything. So the fact that people, thought to themselves, you know what, I'm going to take a punt on this song and give it 3 minutes of my time. I think that's amazing.
You were recently down London, my way, weren't you? Recently, performing at the infamous Amersham Arms. How did that go?
Yeah, it was a brilliant evening. It's obviously an iconic indie venue, so we were really grateful to Underground Sound and More Live for asking us to do it, because we played a few London gigs over the past year, and I've been lucky to play venues like the Water Rats and the Old Blue Last, but to play the Amersham Arms again just felt like one of those moments where you're kind of ticking off an ambition for a lot of grassroots musicians, and it was amazing. It was a big bill, loads of different artists, but everyone had something different. Everyone was kind of unique. No two bands sounded the same. Everyone was really friendly, down to earth, approachable. We had a really good laugh down there. Did some good networking with other bands and enjoyed the sets. And yeah, just had a really good laugh with it. And I think the main thing is with me and the guys that I play with. I can't speak for them, obviously, but I'm hoping this is the case. It's just good fun more than anything. It's not even the gig itself. We have a good laugh getting there. We enjoy spending time in different cities and taking in the sights, and we really enjoy seeing new venues and seeing new places to play. It's a really rewarding and fun hobby.
So how would you say that? Obviously, being London, we've got some quite obviously great venues. How does growing up in Birmingham? How did that influence your sound, or has it influenced your sound in what you've created?
Well, I didn't grow up in Birmingham. I grew up in Willenhall, which is a working class area of
Mhm.
Wolverhampton. Yeah, I'd like to think deep down, although maybe it's not so obvious in the music, there's a kind of a grittiness, a working class kind of, not angst, but kind of a working class kind of demeanor, there's an undercurrent of that in the song. So, growing up, I used to listen to a lot, and I still listen to them now, but I used to listen to people like Billy Joel and
Mhm.
Bruce Springsteen, and those artists obviously are very much products of their environments growing up. Bruce Springsteen in New Jersey, Billy Joel in kind of the rough areas of New York,
Yeah.
and part of me would like to think that there's even in a song like Nod My Head lyrically, there's that kind of undercurrent of growing up in kind of those kind of gritty working class environments. But yeah, I mean, location wise, musically, I suppose it didn't really have that much of an impact on me, really. I mean, growing up in the house, my family would have records on, and there's so much music to absorb growing up. I was very lucky that I grew up in a house where there was always an album on, and I think that gave me a really good kind of education in music, really.
So who would you say that if you could collaborate with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh, I think for me, I'd probably be interested in. I mean, I say this as if he'd be up for it, and I'd be interested in doing this. I think a great one for me would be Elvis Costello. Actually,
Nice.
he was one of the first musicians I got into off my own back. So growing up, I was really lucky that I got exposed to people like Paul Simon, Billy Joel, Springsteen, the Beatles, the Stones, Van Morrison, all of those great people.
Mhm.
But I remember Elvis Costello was one of the first artists that my family hadn't really listened to, but I wanted to seek him out. And when I discovered him, again, it was such a cool education because I loved his adventurism, his restlessness, his talent, his creativity. And I was just floored by kind of the dexterity of his music. And I remember thinking, wow, this is such this is such a big influence on me and what I'd like to do. And I haven't really done done that, to be honest. I haven't lived out on what I wanted to do, but I think I'd love to collaborate with him just because obviously he's such a fantastic songwriter,
Mm.
and I just think his knowledge and his kind of avariciousness, when it comes to music, that
Yeah.
he's kind of a restless figure. So yeah, he'd be up there. I mean, another person I'd love to collaborate with is Evan Dando from
Oh
the
yeah.
Lemon, because again, the Lemonheads were one of the first bands I kind of seeked out off my own back, and again, that really changed a lot for me. I was just getting into songwriting for myself, and it totally changed the way I wrote songs. To be honest with you, and it always feels weird saying that because obviously the Lemonheads are, a massive band, and Evan Dando isn't a massively
Mhm.
appreciated singer songwriter, although it should
Yeah.
be. But yeah, he's had a big impact on me as well. So either of those two,
Good choices, to be honest with you. So, as you're aware, you're quite a champion for unsigned acts, aren't you? You do a lot of promoting and sort of like help out other musicians that I've seen on social media. And what would you say the current scene is like for unsigned acts or independent musicians?
Oh, it's amazing. I think it's always been really good. You just got to know where to look and listen, haven't you? Really.
Mm.
But thanks to people like yourself, and I mean, I'm gonna forget people's names now, so I'm gonna regret doing this. But people like Adi Hansen, David on Raw Radio,
Mhm.
Ricky Spence, the In Your Ears Music Crew. So many people out there that have radio shows, podcasts, promoting music for the sheer love of it, not for profit or anything like
No.
that. Thanks to them, there's so much opportunity for unsigned bands to get exposed. So we're very lucky as grassroots musicians to feel that there are so many platforms we can turn to. You know, we can turn to yourself for support with podcasting. We can turn to people like AD for radio play. We can turn
Mhm.
to various publications for blogs and things like that. So there's a real committed network out there, and they do it for the sheer love of it. So
Yeah.
that makes it amazing. But yeah, there's so many great artists out there. I mean, it's been a real pleasure over the past couple of years to, like you say, not just listen to these people, but get involved and
Yeah.
communicate with them, share their music, share stories with them, share gigs with them, and just build a rapport with them. Because I always say it's, although sometimes you get drawn in and think it's a competition. I think that's totally natural sometimes, but it's not a competition at the end of the day. There's room for everyone. It's a creative pursuit. Everyone's in it together. Everyone's just trying to, spread a little joy, aren't they? We want to make a difference in people's lives by making songs, and we're
Yeah.
all in that same boat. So there's room for everyone, and I think everyone in the unsigned world feels that way, which is really nice. So we're all in it together. And when someone has something that the other has not got, we celebrate it rather than thinking, why not me? We think, good on them.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you a really difficult question here. What top three musicians would you say are what we should really look out for at the moment?
Oh, again, such a tough question. And as you probably guess, I hate questions like this because I obviously by choosing three, I leave about 300 out.
Yeah.
But yeah, top three. I said this band the other day on a podcast that I did. The Shed Project for me
Yeah.
are, when I listen to them, I just think these guys are the real deal. So much talent there. The songs are full of melody, really catchy, up tempo, infectious, energetic. Going to sound great live. I really respect them for the way they've built it up from the ground up. No support, no management, nothing. They've got a really core following, really supportive and friendly. Real inspiration for me because when I joined Twitter, they were already fairly established. So, I looked up to them in a way just to see how they approached it for inspiration. And I was lucky enough to hear their debut album, which I think is coming out around Easter time, and it's fantastic. And for me, I always think I know this is a good band or a good artist, and I know that they're the real deal when I get sent music. Sometimes when I get sent music by a friend, I listen to it and go, "Oh, that's great! My friend has smashed it there. That sounds really good." And then sometimes I get sent music where I totally forget that I know them because I'm so immersed in it. I'm like, this band are amazing. Who are they? And I'm like, oh shit, I know them. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
that moment when you just forget for a moment. You think you're listening to a band that are signed to like Polydor or something. And yeah, the Shed Project are definitely that for me.
Brilliant.
Another one as well that I think are really, really up there is Jay Tennant.
Oh yeah.
Again, his songs are just totally streets ahead. Not of anyone in particular, but when I listen to it, I just think, wow. I mean, this fair play to these guys for what they're achieving because these songs, how these guys are unsigned still, is a mystery to me because it sounds a million times better than half the signed stuff I hear.
Yeah.
And Jay's music is so catchy. It's so polished, but not overly polished. There's so much going on: strings, big guitars, big soaring choruses. So it's got such a knack for creating these big juggernauts of songs. Every one of them is an absolute knockout, and yeah, he just seems to do it effortlessly as well. So I hate him for that.
I'm sure I
and
love you to say that.
yeah, no, I'm joking. And the third one I'm going to go for is a female singer-songwriter called Jen Dixon.
Okay.
I think she's really, really good. It's been really cool to see her kind of grow and develop, not just in confidence, but just in terms of the volume of her output as well. She's released quite a few songs over the past 18 months or so. She's got an amazing voice, really talented multi-instrumentalist. The songs really heartfelt. Again, kind of got this kind of soaring quality to them. And yeah, again, I think she's headed for big things also.
And what advice could you give anyone starting out as an unsigned artist or just starting off in the industry? What advice could you pass on to them?
I think the best advice, obviously, I've kind of touched upon it earlier, is don't go into it thinking it's a competition and you want to be the best, because it doesn't work like that. I think you've got to go in and you've got to give more than you take, I would say. I think if you think to yourself, okay, I've joined Twitter, I'm going to put a post up now saying, listen to my song, you're not going to get anywhere, because I think you've got to put effort in yourself, and you've got to show to people that I'm not just in it for myself. I'm here because I want to be a supporter. I want to be an ally. I want to help other people's songs get out there. I want to listen to their songs. I want to listen to it for inspiration. I want to listen to it to help them. I want to create a network with them. So you've got to be able to, you've got to be willing to put that effort in, and it is a lot of time and effort, but it's so rewarding. And yeah, I just think having that mindset of, it's not just about, going on these social media platforms and posting my latest track, or posting, a live clip, or posting an event link to my next gig. It's not about that, really. Yes, that is part of it, but for me, the bulk of it is just being there for people and being an ally, being a supporter, and taking the time to listen to radio shows, taking the time to read blogs, taking the time to listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
You're not just firing out random emails to people, because, one of my pet peeves is if I get sent a message by a band that I've never met, never spoke to, they've never made any effort to listen to my stuff, and they'll just be like, hi, can you write a review of my song? And, I just think, well, I can, but you've never made any effort previously to listen to my stuff or anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, it takes all sorts, but that's just my personal opinion. But I think if you go out there and you do your research and you support people are going to be more willing to accept you and listen to you,
Yeah.
because they're going to know that you're not just here for the streams, you're not just here to get the follows. You actually want to contribute. And I think that's the best advice I could give, and that's advice that's served me well.
What would you say your career goals is as a musician?
I think for me, it's just to keep enjoying it more than anything. I think the moment you stop enjoying it, no matter what level you're at, it's just not going to be a long-term thing. So I think just to keep enjoying it, and to keep finding ways to enjoy it, and to keep excited by it, and to keep being a team player, to keep being supportive, keep remembering who I am and how I've got to where I am, and keep remembering in any time where I'm immersed in my own music, to remember that there's a big world out there and other people are working hard to get their stuff out there, and to keep supporting them. So I think my goals really are fairly short term, really. I mean, obviously I'd love to sit here and say to you, I want to get signed, I want to tour the world,
Yeah.
I would love that, but I've always been a bit of a pragmatist, and I've got a full-time job, I've got a house, got a mortgage, so I have to think realistically. So I think for me, just to keep enjoying it, just to build, little steps here and there. I mean, for me, Nod My Head was a good example. The Rolling Stone feature and the Radio X play, they were new things. So again, they're little steps, but important steps. So looking to the future, I'd like to get a few more festivals under my belt this summer.
Yeah.
Some different ones that we didn't play last year. It'd be great to play some slightly bigger festivals again, just so we're making those little steps each time, and maybe get some good gigs around the UK again. That are just that just take us to that, just take us to that next rung of the ladder. And I think, hopefully the planning is maybe in the autumn time, if we've got the funds to do it, to get back in the studio and record the follow-up to Love and Exile. Because I've got the songs written now, myself, at home with the guitar and the lyrics. We just now need the time as a band to flesh them out, but we haven't had that time because we've been we was on tour, and then obviously we had Nod My Head, and we've got our headline gig next month in Brum. But yeah, like I say, I think those are kind of the key things for me. But more than anything, just to not forget who I am and to keep enjoying it.
And where can we find you on social media for those of you who are listening for the first time to Sam? Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, well, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and it's all under Sam Lambeth Music, all one word, all lowercase. And obviously, I'm on Spotify as well, and on YouTube. I am debating TikTok. I don't know. There's that feeling of, am I going to feel like one of them old blokes you see dancing in Slug and Lettuce on a Saturday night, whose bladder's caved in and he's got 2 teeth. But well, we'll see. I'm tempted, but yeah, for now I'm on all the other ones.
Brilliant. Well, Sam, thank you so much for taking time out to actually join me on my podcast and on the very first episode in a long time. So thank you so much. And yeah, your track is absolutely brilliant. So
thanks very much for having me. Honestly, really good to talk to you, and thanks for all the support you've given me, because you've been supporting me since the first single came out. So it means a lot.
Yeah, I think it was December 2020 actually that we first started talking. So it's been well over a year, and it's obviously the weird thing is it's the first time we've actually proper spoken. So but it's been absolutely fantastic chatting to you. So
thank you.
And all the best, and I look forward to chatting to you very soon.
Indeed, yeah, and you, mate. Thanks again. Speak soon.
Yeah. Take care. See you later.
Bye-bye.
And that's it for tonight's episode. Thank you so much for joining me on my first podcast of 2022. And special thanks also for Sam for appearing on tonight's episode. Join me next week as I'll be speaking to brand new up-and-coming band Small Talk as they talk about their debut release of their new single called Head Start. Thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and take care. Bye-bye.